Welcome everyone to the 18th People Who Care event. Bienvenidos a todos y todas. It turns out that this is actually the first virtual People Who Care event. My name is Sarah Lickfold and I'm the Development Director at Transitions. Thank you all for tuning in today. I know it's a busy time of year and we're all kind of technology burned out, myself included. So it means a lot to us at Transitions that you're taking the time for this event. Believe me, it'll be worth it. So let me give a brief overview of Transitions programs for those of you who are less familiar. Our mission is to end poverty and homelessness for women and children in Spokane. And we pursue this mission through 6 different programs: Women's Hearth, the Transitional Living Center, Miriam's House, Homeyard Cottages, Educare, and New Leaf Kitchen and Cafe. I want to take a moment right now to thank our table captains. They are the heroes and heroines of PWC every year. And this year, their volunteer work became more complicated due to this drastic venue change. Table captains, we so appreciate your sweat and tears as we've navigated a new event, new systems, and new processes. You're incredibly resilient, and I am overwhelmingly grateful. This year's really been challenging for all of us, but I especially want to send our thoughts and prayers out to all the folks directly affected by COVID-19 and this terrible fire season, as well as to those who are challenging the generations of social injustice perpetrated by systemic racism. May we progress into 2021 with grace, compassion, and humility. Thank you so very much to today's sponsors as well. Those sponsors include Bill and Mary Murphy and Providence Healthcare, AmeriGroup, Bernardo Wills Architects, Horizon Credit Union, Rogue Heart Media, Rosar's Supermarkets, Molina, Mover, Sinsinawa Dominican Sisters, and the Sisters of St. Francis of Philadelphia, as well as BECU, Canopy Credit Union, GISA Credit Union, and Ware Law Office. If I've missed any sponsors that maybe came in at a later date, I'm so sorry, but please know that we appreciate your dedication to the women and children at Transitions. And we of course can't forget our wonderful sponsoring communities who are there for us in so many ways all year round. They include the Sinsinawa Dominican Sisters, the Sisters of the Holy Names of Jesus and Mary, the Sisters of Providence, and the Sisters of St. Francis of Philadelphia. We wouldn't be here without your love and support. So throughout the program today, you may have questions, and although we aren't able to directly speak back and forth, we do have our AmeriCorps members, Sarah and Isabella, online watching for questions that they can quickly answer for you. Additionally, if you have questions for me, Edie, our Executive Director, or Mariah, a Transitions alumna you'll meet soon, please ask those in that same comment section, and we'll do our best to answer them all during our Q&A session. Please be respectful in the comments as well as in your questions. So like so many nonprofits, we've been working hard to make this virtual event happen. And I hope the event shows you the positive change you're all making in this community. And I also hope it encourages all of us to remember human dignity as we each walk our different paths. And now, a blessing for today and for every day by John O'Donohue. It's entitled, "For Equilibrium, a Blessing." Like the joy of the sea coming home to shore, may the relief of laughter rinse through your soul. As the wind loves to call things to dance, may your gravity be lightened by grace. Like the dignity of moonlight restoring the earth, may your thoughts incline with reverence and respect. As water takes whatever shape it's in, so free may you be about who you become. As silence smiles on the other side of what's said, may your sense of irony bring perspective. As time remains free of all that it frames, may your mind stay clear of all it names. May your prayer of listening deepen enough to hear in the depths the laughter of God. Thank you so much, many blessings, and I hope you enjoy our program today.
Hello, my name is Dixie Todd. I'm a former homeless person. I started my journey with Transitions program back when Sister Kathy Beckley had started the Women's Drop-In Center down on Sprague Street by the Fox Theater. When I first became homeless, I couldn't receive any services. So to get out of homelessness back in the 90s was you had to categorize yourself, and you were either an alcoholic, mentally ill, or a criminal, and I didn't fit any of those things. I simply was homeless. So originally it was just that I had lost my job due to a layoff, and so I was living with my grandmother at the time, and I needed to get a place for me and my son. It's interesting to have come so far so fast, because my homelessness was quite lengthy, and my mental illness really hadn't developed until much later in my homelessness. When you look at the Women's Hearth, they serve people with dignity, and they try to bring the dignity into a focus of individuality, which I think is important, because not everybody's path is the same, and they're real careful to understand that each person that comes in has their own story. And with that own story obviously comes barriers and challenges, because they most likely have disabilities, that have complicated their lives and added to the circumstances of homelessness. I now am applying for my bachelor's degree in interdisciplinary studies from EWU. I also have a minor in disability studies at EWU. I currently live in a nice one-bedroom apartment with a fireplace and a garage and a swimming pool, and I have 2 jobs. And I would not have gotten in the position that I'm in had it not been for being able to get services at the Women's Hearth over the years. The Transitions has helped me to make my recovery speedy and stabilize my growth patterns and my stumbling blocks along the way. But at the same time, was walking with me every step while I went from homelessness to new in the workforce, as a college student to a volunteer at a state facility, and then an employee. I appreciate the opportunity to do this video. I hope that you continue to support and be active in the Transitions programs, and that the programs are strong and hold a bright future for the many homeless women in Spokane, Washington. They have options for people, and they're willing to work with you right where you're at. And that, to me, is the key to human dignity.
I'm Edie Rice-Sauer, Executive Director of Transitions. Over the past 6 months, Transitions has survived 4 plagues: COVID, a flood, smoke, and linens. You all know about COVID and smoke, but we've also had a flood at TLC that displaced a number of us, and then there was the avalanche of the linens. Gonzaga needed to get rid of 300 sets of bedding, including pillows, blankets, sheets, and towels. And the catch? Most of them needed to be laundered. Well, in stepped Move Her Moving Company to deliver the linens, and a crew of 10 volunteers who trucked home those bags. Do you know how heavy a bag of cotton sheets is? And Skillskin, a local not-for-profit that serves differently abled persons, offered to launder the rest. Ultimately, over 12 local not-for-profits who serve persons who are homeless benefited from this gift. These linens would otherwise have gone to the landfill. So that was plague number 4. And each of these plagues has taught me more and more about our resilience, our collaborations, our tenacity. Let me tell you a bit about how Transitions is responding to COVID, and I'll do that in song. Girls in white latex gloves, temperatures taken, staff alternating, not feeling forsaken, tenants adhering, no positive tests. After school programs give mothers some rest. Hiring a tutor to start fall semester. handing out undies while calming protesters, showers and curbside meals done gladly. Miriam's house still a community. Who would have known we'd provide school on site now? Food banks continue, volunteers missed, and how? Trainings and book groups help motivate staff. Tech use connects us, creates a life raft. COVID pushed us, water took us, pillows knocked us round. We simply took reins and created new things and saw growth and change abound. Our value of respect states, we believe in the dignity and inherent worth of individuals and respect their right to self-determination. During COVID, I've seen transitions become incredibly creative and responsive to need while respecting our participants. I know this is true by the stories that I hear. While Women's Hearth closed in March, it slowly opened up to allow women to get the basic things they need: food, undergarments, showers, help with housing. Women came back worried that we might have forgotten them. One asked, "Do you remember me? Did you worry about me at all?" We sometimes become the only support a woman might find while she lives on the streets. Of course we remember you, your name, your story, why you are here, and at each step, we take those stories into consideration in how we respond. As Hermann Hesse said, one never reaches home, but where paths that have an affinity for each other intersect, the whole world looks like home for a time. Educare closed briefly, then provided respite care to individual families so as to minimize exposure. Now we're open full-time for childcare. And Cassie, one of our Educare teachers, described the joy she felt when one of her moms sent pictures of her graduation from a drug treatment program. We want to know those stories. We want to know the children are getting what they need. And more importantly, we want to be there, shepherding to success. For some, that success might mean finding a home. For others, it means reuniting with one's children. And for another, success might mean surviving one more night away from an abusive partner. The thing about transitions is that we're tenacious, resilient, and creative. No stinking pandemic will stop us from creating respectful spaces for our participants. We will continue to respond to needs in a safe and individualized manner. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention how Transitions is responding to the Black Lives Matter movement. Many of the people we serve are from diverse ethnic backgrounds, and we work hard to have a similar representation in our staff and our volunteers and our board. That said, we don't always succeed. Following a particularly difficult hate crime at the cottages, we've been working very hard with the NAACP to clarify our policies, train our staff, volunteers, and board, and generally project a clearly welcoming spirit to all that we serve. The work continues, so pray for us as we seek to be a model of consciousness and openness to our Black and brown sisters and brothers. I paraphrase from James Hollis's book, What Matters Most. I am filled with hope that around the next corner, the new and the unexpected will cause us to reinvent ourselves, revise our way of seeing, and take us back to the point of beginning, which is awe, which is wonder, which is curiosity, which is terror, and which is a summons to stay in the fight. Stay in the fight with us. Thank you.
It's really important to have a safety net of some kind. And honestly, it's just regard. It's just unconditional, positive regard.
You know, I'm just as good as anybody else. I believe that everybody has value. They just have to see the value inside themselves.
Enjoy. Thank you.
Transitions help me build a better life for myself and help me accomplish all my goals. I've came so far in such a short period of time because of what Transitions has done for me.
So Mariah just told me she's 28 now, which means I met her when she was 23, 5 years ago. And we were just talking, she said, I had to learn to love myself. And that's exactly right. The women that we work with can become so self-hating and so filled with shame about their lives that it's very hard to forgive themselves.
I was a really well-behaved kid when I was a kid, but when I became a teenager, I started making really bad choices. When I was 13, I ran away from home and I started using drugs, and I got into really unhealthy relationships all throughout my teenage years.
She was running away from her mom and me and everybody through her teen years, and she was homeless and on the streets. You know, I'd see her and my heart would break and she'd run away from me.
And then I got my housing voucher when I was 23, and I stayed clean for almost a year, but I didn't want it for myself. I wasn't ready. And I went back out, and for a couple more years.
I would see her, she would come into the hearth, and she clearly was no longer housed and was back on the street, and it was scary. It was scary just imagining what was going on.
And this time she really went bad. I mean, she was living in the house of charity. They would pick her up in the middle of the night. She was sleeping out in the snow. I would drive by every day, and I would see her walking around in circles, and she was losing her mind. I hate meth. I hate meth.
It was like, looking back, I even feel sad for myself, because I was just, what I was doing, I was out there all winter long without a coat, and it was insanity. It was so hard for me to get out of that lifestyle. But I prayed to God, and right after, a cop kept telling me to go to community court. So he arrested me, and I went to community court.
This was different. You could tell this was different. And it was very serendipitous, because the Homeyard Cottages was just accepting people on the wait list. And I'm like, Mariah, here's the application. You got to get on this if you really want this to happen. And she just was amazing.
I went to my parents and I told everybody, I'm ready this time. I'm actually going to stay clean, and I'm starting a life for myself. I'm going to do good, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to show everybody. And so I did.
She just blossomed. I mean, we have people come into the hearth all the time and say, oh, I couldn't have made it without you. And that's a lovely thought, and probably there's some truth to that. But the truth is they couldn't have made it without themselves. And they did the hard work.
I moved in here and I was all happy, and all these good things were happening. After living here for a couple months, I started going to barista training at the New Leaf Bakery. And that was a lot of fun. At the same time, I was going to mental health and outpatient drug and alcohol. And not only do I have hope, but I'm carrying it out.
A lot of times coming from homelessness, people don't have a lot of trust, and they don't really know how to be a neighbor or a tenant. So really just having a safe place to learn how to grow and become the person that they want to be.
So our services have really been designed to meet people in whatever place they find themselves in, and that might be needing a shower and a warm place to be, to people who are so eager to go out, find a job, get employment. It really looks at the spectrum of where people are and recognizes it's not a linear progression at all, and that the support folks need in this community comes from housing, and it comes from employment, and it comes from supportive services and everything that we do. So it really is designed to be truly wraparound, and truly honor how complex people are and how complex people's needs are.
I have a clipboard, and it used to have all my accomplishments on it, like I graduated ukulele class. I didn't skip any classes, so they actually gave me an ukulele. Now, I'm actually living life. It just keeps getting better and better, and then I got my license, and driving is a lot of fun. So there's a lot of things that's happened.
It was a miracle, because what they said she had was drug-induced schizophrenia from the meth. And she's returned to me as my little princess and my favorite person in the whole world, and she's my hero today. And I'm so proud of her.
It's always the story that everybody wants to hear about how someone just, found their way through sort of the darkness of their lives, and they blossomed, and, we all love a happy ending. And But I think it's really important, and I think what Transitions does really well, is that we welcome people at all stages of their journey, whatever their journey may be, and we provide those opportunities for people, but we let people make their own decision.
She wants to go to college now. She's registered for the fall. She's working at Safeway. I just blessed, just blessed.
I'm living a good life, and so now I have pictures of new memories that I'm making, and I'm sponsoring people in AA, and that makes me feel really good to be able to reach out to somebody who needs me. And so now I want to go to college and do that for a living, is help people.
Everyone deserves a roof over their head. Everyone deserves a home. And a lot of times, other goals in life can't be met until you have that safety and that consistency with being housed.
Transitions, we give people chance after chance after chance. You know, if somebody loses their housing here and they come into the Hearth, we'll try again. And, you know, or if they, you know, get to Miriam's and discover they're pregnant, they can go to TLC. I mean, we really try to put something in place that will help to support them and help them be able to lift themselves up. The community can support us and help us in doing that, and understand that we're not always going to have a happy ending, but we're always going to have a happier ending. You have to believe that you're worth it, and you have to have the courage to step out there and really do it.
We've heard wonderful stories of what Transitions does for women and children every day. We're all part of this community, and we all have a role to play in fostering and contributing to it. Today, I ask you to make a financial contribution to support our community. This is such an important investment for those seeking a better life and for our future generations of children. Whether you're able to give a small amount or a large amount, I urge you to thoughtfully and generously invest in Transitions. To donate, please click on the link in the description below this video. That will bring you to our PWC donation page. Now, there are a few different ways to give, so please follow along with me before you decide. On this donation page, you'll see a list of one-time donation amounts and what each of those gifts could pay for. Select the quantity of the dollar amount you'd like to give and click Next. If you have a different one-time dollar amount in mind, scroll down just a little bit and simply enter in the dollar amount you'd like to give today and then click Next. For those of you who want to take that next step and pledge a long-term gift, in the same section is an opportunity to do so. Simply click Yes next to Make a Pledge Recurring Gift. From there, you'll see further options. For example, if you'd like to donate $25 per month for a year, type 25 in the amount you would like to recur, then select Monthly under Frequency of Donation, and finally, choose 12 recurrences, or select October 1, 2021 as the date of your final recurring donation. Confirm that recurring donation and click Next. I encourage you to consider joining what we call our Society of Transition Sustainers by pledging at any of the 3 following levels. These levels are also listed and broken down near the top of this donation page. Our first level is Transition a Family, $1,000 per year for 5 years. Next is Sustain a Program, $5,000 per year for 5 years. Then it's Continue the Impact, $10,000 per year for 5 years. These gifts really keep Transitions going through thick and thin. After you finish this page and click Next, it will take you to a review of your order and ask for the cardholder's information. Fill out your contact info and your card info. Electronically sign by clicking on the box where it says Electronic Signature. Let the system know you're not a robot, and then click Submit for processing. Easy. For a lot of you, this is something you've done many times before. Some of you, many. For others, this is a new and uncomfortable experience. We appreciate all your efforts. But if you'd rather send in a check, you can. You can just email your name and address to pwc@helpforwomen.org, and we'll send you a return envelope. Or you can simply mail your check to Transitions to 3128 North Hemlock Street, Spokane, Washington, 99205. This address is also listed near the top of the donation page. Write PWC in the notes line. Additionally, if you need help or you'd prefer to give your credit card information over the phone, just call us at Transitions 509-328-6702. We have folks on standby to help guide you through this process. We also have a couple staff watching the comments section for any questions about donating, but please do not enter any of your credit card info there. Thank you for your time today, your patience, and your compassionate hearts. Edie, Mariah, and Sarah are up next to answer your questions. Remember, your questions have to be typed into the comments section of this live stream video. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Hi, thank you so much for joining us today for People Who Care 2020. A very different experience, I think, than we've had before, but I hope everybody enjoyed it, and I know we had some tears going here. I'm here with Edie, Mariah, and I'm Sarah, of course, but you know me because I'm famous. And we also have Mariah's family here joining us, so if you hear cheering or anything in the background, that's them. See? So far, I'm not seeing any questions that anybody has, so let me double check here.
Throw us one.
Yeah, but if anybody has a question, we've got the chat open, so let us know if you have a question. And but for now, I'd like to address the elephant in the room, which is the Transitions the Musical comment. I'm just gonna say I also want that to happen, and I hope it does. So we're gonna be in conversation with some ukulele accompaniment and Edie's beautiful
Not singing.
So Edie, is there anything you wanted to add, maybe on? Information or updates on transitions that maybe people might have questions about?
You know, it has been a thank you. So thank you for being with us. And I would say that during COVID has been pretty incredible to watch the metamorphosis as we've attempted to really respond to the folks we serve in unique ways that allow distancing and safety, but also are responsive. One of the exciting things that's just happened recently is we did hire a tutor. So every day from 8 to 12 in our TLC family room, we have school. We have 17 children registered for that. They rotate in 10 kiddos at a time. But that tutor is available to them to help with technology or other issues. So I'm just so proud that we were able to do that. We did that partly because staff needed it and residents needed it. So it was really responsive to both of those populations. We have quite the cohort of 6th graders and are excited about that. So thank you for all those people who responded to our Amazon request to make that happen. We got everything we needed. It was really incredible. So thanks for that. And just thank you for being here today and supporting us in this really odd and unique circumstance.
Mariah, you want to update us on your... Oh, do we have a question?
We do have a question.
Oh, we have a question.
From Ian Sullivan. How can we support transitions on top of financial contributions?
Fantastic question, Ian. Thank you so much for that. Edie, would you like to address that?
We do love Ian. Thank you for being with us, Ian. You know, there's a number of ways. I think one of the challenges right now is it's really hard to volunteer. So we do have some volunteer components, like we have some lawn work, some social distancing kinds of things that are available. So if you're interested in volunteering, you might go to our website, www.help4women.org. And on there's a whole listing of volunteer opportunities that you can connect with, and then connect with our volunteer coordinator. You know, financially, of course, is something that we're always needing. We've been able to get through to this point fairly well. This event actually today is our major fundraiser, so any kind of financial support you can supply today would be wonderful. But also just prayerful in your thoughts. Keep us in mind. I always encourage people, send little notes to the residents at TLC or Merriam's or the cottages. You don't even have to have a name, but if you just say resident of cottage number 2, I mean, we have 1 to 24 cottages. So send a note to the cottage residents. I think they'd love it. And TLC, you can just send a note to the residents of TLC, and it's helpful for people, I think, to know that they've got support out there in the community that maybe they don't even understand they have, and that they have a network of people who care about them.
There's also a wish list online if you want to do in-kind donations, and that's at our website to helpforwomen.org/donate. It'll take you to a page that has that wish list on there. We have some more questions now that they've uploaded into my thingy-mabob. One's from Mariah. How's school going, Mariah?
I'm doing really good. I'm getting all A's so far. I'm on my second week. And I love it. I love all my course classes. I'm really excited, and hopefully that I stay with that excitement.
Great.
Thank you, Mariah. Another question is, how long do people stay on average at the cottages?
So people can stay at the cottages. It's a permanent home. It's their forever home. So as long as they're following the lease, they can stay here. Sometimes people end up making too much money or decide that they want to work full time or do other things. And Mariah is one of those people who felt like she wanted to do some other things. So she was ready to move out. But really, as long as somebody follows their lease, this is their home. They can stay here forever.
All right, what's next? I did that one.
I might just add, one difference is, Transitional Living Center, we call that TLC, and Miriam's house, those are called transitional housing programs. So those are time limited, they're up to 2 years. But typically we see, especially single women, we see them stay 8 to 9 months. Moms with kiddos sometimes stay a little longer just because that's a much more complex system that has a lot of pieces to it. But basically, people can stay up to 2 years in those transitional housing units.
Yeah, good ad. Transitional housing. The next question is, I haven't donated to transitions before, but I'm interested in the packages and wondering if you have a particular need that is greater right now. Now, the packages online are kind of a fund a need. So a dollar amount that you donate could go, like $2,500 could pay for this, or $500 could pay for this. As to those packages, there isn't a particular need in that list right now. And quite honestly, with COVID, it's just kind of like an overall financial need when it comes to that. So there isn't one particular. I really just want people to give as their heart guides them.
I might add too, frankly, although sometimes from a donor perspective, you want to know exactly where your money is going. It helps us from a fiscal perspective if you donate to the whole program and we can place it where it's needed. Each year is different. Some years New Leaf really needs the funding, other years Women's Hearth. So it just varies from year to year. So if you're willing to be general, we will place it in the area that's most needy.
Yeah. Excellent. So this is probably about that, how Educare is doing school for kids. So how are you doing school for young folks is the question.
How are we doing school for young kids? So we have a fairly large family room at TLC. We have it divided up by actually cardboard dividers, and every child has a computer, a laptop. We beefed up our internet access there so that we didn't have a lot of failures for people accessing school. And then basically the tutor helps them get on, helps them understand that technology. Well, I will say the first week was really crazy, as I think anyone at your home who were trying to access the internet in school. It was really challenging, but students were really resilient. They kept with it. And so basically we rotate through 10 kids at a time. So basically they can be there for about 3 days a week. And then we can support them in other ways, but essentially the tutor's available to them 3 days a week. We're really proud to be able to do that and excited to be supportive of both the families that we serve and the staff.
All right, next. Great online event, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Is Transitions accepting any non-financial donations, i.e. household goods? We did approach this a little bit, but I just wanted to talk about it again for the wish list. The helpforwomen.org/donate is the best place to look and see if what you have in your house is something that we're taking right now or at any time. We are having, our storage is questionable right now. So we can't take like a large amount of household donations right now, but if you have some stuff and you think it might work, you can just email me, email info@helpforwomen.org and it'll get to me. So it's info@helpforwomen.org, and check and see if that's something that we're in need of right now or that we can use. And if not, we'll direct you elsewhere, but it's always nice to check. Any additions or?
Well, that's great.
Covers it. Cool. Where's the best place to keep up with information on transitions? That's a good question. Uh-oh, we got a phone. So I would say the best place to keep up with information on transitions, there's a couple of ways. Facebook, social media is obviously the quickest. So Facebook tends to be like the most immediate. We put our needs up there when we have like, we randomly need a dishwasher or something like that. We'll put that there. So that's a great place to do that. You can also sign up for our e-newsletter. That's not as up to date as social media, but it is there. Those are the best ways right now. We do have a newsletter that comes out about 3 times a year. So there's multiple ways, but
Website or website?
Our website, again, it's not like up to the second like social media, but it works. So I would say, yeah, website, Facebook, and then sign up for our e-newsletter, which you could do on our website, helpforwomen.org. I'm going to update this here. Question for everyone. This is a really critical question. What is your favorite drink at New Leaf? Bill's is coffee. You know what? The funny thing is, whenever I go into New Leaf, I never know what I want. And Deanna, the cafe manager, processes me through it. And somehow she always knows what I want. I don't know how she does it. So if you're not sure, just go in there and Deanna like reads your mind. It's amazing. So that's my favorite drink, is whatever Deanna recommends for me. Mariah?
I like the white coffee with cream de mint and white chocolate. It's called a grasshopper or a white alpine. It's still my favorite, and I don't think that I'll ever like it as much as when I had it at New Leaf, because I've been to coffee shops all over after that, and they just can't make it the same. It's not good.
If you're in Spokane, so you could visit our cafe. It's in the YMYW building on Monroe. So please come by Monday through Friday. But there are always weekly specials too. So one of the things I like to do is try those specials, because they're often things I would not normally buy, and see what's what. I have become a tea drinker though, so I'm a little bit more narrow in what I can expect.
London fog.
Yeah.
Deanna makes an amazing London fog there. This is right now our last question. We'll see. Were those gardens I saw in the background at the Homeyard Cottages? Oh, were they gardens she saw in the background at the Homeyard Cottages?
No, that's actually my mother-in-law's garden.
Well, at your house, but at the cottages, we do have gardens here. Here at the cottages. So we're in, I don't think I mentioned we're in the community building at the Homeyard Cottages. Maybe I did. I don't know. But yes, we do have a community garden here behind the cottages. And Edie, who can use those?
The area around Audubon Downriver. So we have residents from the cottages who use those. And then if you're living in our community right here, and probably even Emerson Garfield is really a very close neighborhood too. So if you're a resident and are interested in using one of our raised beds, a number of them are available. You just need to contact us at probably our phone number, 509-328-6702, and say that you'd like to talk to the cottages about a raised bed. This is the first year they're really active. It took quite a bit of work to get them to the point now that they're being used. But yeah, so think about for next year, maybe planting some items and raising some vegetables.
They do look significantly different right now than they did in the video because there are a ton of plants growing in them right now.
Yeah.
So in the video, it's just dirt, but it does look very different right now. Did any other questions come in, Ian, that you can see?
No, but we do have a fantastic comment.
Okay.
Every presentation was superior today. We are all blessed in the community for the critical work you each do for countless families, need after need. Thank you is inadequate for your amazing women leaders.
Aww,
Thank you. Wow.
Thank you. That's so nice. All right, well, we are at 12:44, which I kind of promised people 45 minutes would be the max. So
Do you want to mention Ian's help?
I do want to mention Ian's help, as a matter of fact. So that voice you hear behind the curtain, I guess I say, is Ian Warren. He's been helping us out with the technology piece because I don't know how to live stream on YouTube. I do now, thanks to Ian.
So
Ian, do you want to come and say hi? Or?
Stick your face in here.
This is Ian.
So, yeah, he made us happen.
He's our hero today. So yay! All right. Well, thank you everybody again for joining us. We're going to sign off, and if you do have any questions that come up or any comments about the event itself, feel free to email us at pwc@helpforwomen.org, and I'll do my best to reply in a timely manner. All right?
Well done, Sarah.
Thank you. Any other comments or for the good of the team?
Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, I'm good. Okay. All right. Thank you.